What's up, guys, and welcome back to Magic Minds EDH. I'm your co-host Caleb, and today we are doing episode 2 of the color profiles, Red. So we're going to be talking about Red in Commander today, so without further ado, let's get into it. So as usual, we will start off with some staples. First up, there is Chaos Warp, a really good red removal spell. It is red and 2 for an instant. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into his or her library, then reveals the top card of his or her library. If it's a permanent card, he or she puts it onto the battlefield. So it's really good removal for any permanents. The one downside probably won't come up too often. Usually they just flip a land or something. But sometimes what's useful about this card for me is that I've Chaos Warped my own permanents when I'm really stuck to get something good, and that sometimes can help claw me back into games that I've fell behind from. So yeah, this is just really good removal in red, which is something it doesn't have a lot of, so a great card. The second card is Blasphemous Act. This is a really good board wipe. It is 8 and red for a sorcery. Blasphemous Act costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield, and it does 13 damage to each creature. So usually it's a 3 or 4 mana board wipe. Sometimes it can get down to 1. It's really, really nice to have a board wipe you don't have to dump a bunch of mana into, and usually it's going to wipe all the creatures out. You usually don't see creatures getting above 13 toughness. So the next card is Vandal Blast. It is 1 red for a sorcery. Destroy target artifact you don't control. But it has Overload for 4 and a red. If you cast it for its Overload cost, you change it from target to each. So you would destroy each artifact you don't control. And Commander is a pretty artifact-heavy format with all the mana rocks and things like that. So this is going to be really helpful to just destroy everyone else's artifacts and give you a step ahead from them in ramp, and it can destroy some very severe threats. And cards like these that give you 1 step ahead of your opponents just are generally really good. Okay, so the next red staple we have is Dockside Extortionist. When it enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. This can go infinite pretty easily with bouncing it and stuff, but that's not the reason it's a staple. It just is really good ramp. I'll play this for 2 mana sometimes and get 5 treasures off of it, which basically gives me 3 mana ahead plus a blocker. I really like this card. Some other staples are Gamble, Faithless Looting, Reforge the Soul, but one I really like is Etali Primal Storm. It is 4 red for a legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur. It's a 6/6, and whenever Etali Primal Storm attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. You may cast any number of spells from among those cards without paying their mana costs. So this is just a fun card that can help you cheat out some bombs or steal opponents' threats after they just Vampiric Tutored. So now let's move on to one of the best red commanders, and that is Kranko Mob Boss. So Kranko is 2 red for a legendary creature, Goblin, and it has tap, create X 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins you control. It's a 3/3. So what you're going to be trying to do is obviously play a bunch of goblins, and then you just get exponentially more and more goblins. So this is so powerful because overloading the board with creatures at an exponential rate is very powerful. Some of the best cards in this deck are Goblin War Chief, Goblin Chieftain, Cirque Prospector, Goblin Matron. One I really like is Phyrexian Altar because it's a sack outlet for your goblins. And if you have a haste enabler, you can go infinite with this, where you're sacking goblins plus Kranko to generate mana. Then you recast Kranko, get more goblins, and you get infinite mana and infinite goblins. So that does it for this color profile. In all, I think red is more powerful than white, but not as powerful as the rest of the colors. I would say it's the fourth most powerful color in Magic. It needs more removal, card draw, and ramp. Though it has more downsides than white, I would still say it is better because it has this fast, aggressive strategy that is actually pretty good in Commander. It's just, it doesn't have those beneficial things you need in a Commander deck. So, yeah. See you in the next color profile, and as always, keep Magic on your mind.